Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my movie vlog. My name is John Campea, and this is the companion video. Now, every day on the John Campea Show and on Open Mic, we save some time to take live questions, but quite often we don't have time to get to all of those questions. So I want to make sure you guys know that when you send in those questions, they do get answered. So we take those questions that we didn't have time for, and we do these videos, the companion video. So we got a few things to get caught up in here today, so let's get things started. And the first question we got to get caught up on here today comes to us from Michael Bell, who writes, will the winner of the Disney/Comcast bidding war have won the film rights to the Peanuts franchise? Okay, that's an interesting question. And yes, it is still ongoing. This whole Disney Comcast thing is still going. The Fox shareholders vote on July 10th. That's when this will be decided. Because either Comcast is going to put in a new bid to beat the current $71.3 billion bid by Disney, or they won't, and then on July 10th, the shareholders of Fox will vote to accept the Disney deal, blah, blah, blah. But we're still a ways away from that July 10th date, so a lot of things can happen. Interesting question. What happens to the film rights to Peanuts? Now, the Peanuts movie, the Charlie Brown movie that got released a couple of years ago, I love that movie, by the way. But it made like, $200-something million. But anyway, it was actually it was made by one of the Fox animation houses, right? And distributed through Fox. Now, the rights, though, to Charlie Brown all belong to this like Charlie Brown or Peanuts Entertainment Company that's owned 80% by this Canadian company and then 20% by Charles M. Schultz's estate. So it's actually a Canadian company that owns the controlling rights. From what I understand, the deal, and I could be wrong, and this information could be out of date, but the deal that the Peanuts company made with Fox was to give them the option for 3 movies, I believe. So if the winner of the Disney, whoever gets 21st Century Fox, those rights stay with 21st Century Fox. And if that goes to Disney, then it goes to Disney. If it goes to... Now, there is another option here. That if Disney wins 20th Century Fox and they dismantle 20th Century Fox, or 21st Century Fox, I should say, it is conceivable then that the rights revert back to the Charlie Brown Company and that the film rights are now fair game for them to sell to whoever they want. I believe that if Comcast wins the bid and they keep 21st Century Fox intact, then the film rights stay there at least for a couple of movies. So there's a lot of there's no simple yes or no answer to this. There's a lot of different variables. So like if Disney wins it and they dismantle 21st Century Fox, the rights may stay with Disney, or because 21st Century Fox no longer exists, the rights may revert back to the Charles M. Schultz Company. If it does stay together, I believe it's for 2 more films, but even that could be different. There could be a ticking clock. Like the rights may have reverted because they didn't go into production on a new Charlie Brown movie within X number of years. So there's no simple answer to that. Let's keep our eyes on the situation because I would love to see. The fact of the matter is that Charlie Brown movie didn't make a whole ton of money, but I loved it. I thought it was wonderful, and I would love to see another one, whether it's in Comcast's hands, 21st Century Fox's hands, Disney, I don't know, but I would love to see another one regardless. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. And the next one comes to us from Santez Henderson, who writes, wasn't a big fan of the new Jurassic movie, but man, Chris Pratt really felt like Nathan Drake and Dr. Jones to me for some reason. Well, I mean, I think Indiana Jones is now the archetype, right? For any kind of adventure hero, Indiana Jones becomes your template. And I remember like a year or 2 ago, there was some discussion about maybe Chris Pratt becoming the new Indiana Jones whenever and after Harrison Ford is done with the role. We know Harrison Ford is doing one more Indiana Jones movie. What do they do with Indiana Jones after that? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I don't know that I got a Nathan Drake feel from him personally. And I mean, Chris Pratt, what the character reminded me most of was Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt infuses a lot of his personality into his characters. We saw that in Star-Lord. We've seen that, I believe, in Jurassic World. We've also seen him play completely different characters, whether it's in Moneyball or some other things too. The dude can act, but I don't know that I personally did. And you know what? I like the new Jurassic World movie. I think it's the second best, and that's not saying much. I believe it's the second best Jurassic movie we've had. Obviously, the first one's the best by a mile. And then none of the rest of them have really blown my socks off. And while Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom also did not blow my socks off, I found it quite entertaining. I liked it. Not great, not something I'm going to watch 5 times in theaters, but again, I think it's probably the second best one they've done so far. I certainly liked it more than the first Jurassic World. So, the Chris Pratt character, I don't know. I mean, look, I think Chris Pratt could play Indiana Jones. I think he could play Nathan Drake, sure. But so could a lot of other actors, so we'll just kind of see what happens with that. All right, next question comes to us from Renee Ferrer, who writes, "The costume ruined Homecoming for me. What makes him, Spider-Man, special isn't an AI in a suit that Tony gave him. Give him a suit like Maguire's and that's it." Well, Renee, I mean, for any of you who've watched me for any period of time, you're speaking my language and you're singing my song. I mean, I love the new Spider-Man as portrayed by Tom Holland. I think he does a great job. I like the writing of the character. I'm a big fan of the new Spider-Man. The one thing I don't like about the new Spider-Man is that they're making him into a cheap Iron Man Jr. Spider-Man's not cool enough. Let's make him Iron Man Jr. because all the kiddies like Iron Man. Let's make him Iron Man Jr. That's cool. Spider-Man doesn't need an AI and rocket launcher and whatever else. He's Spider-Man. That's enough. Spider-Man is cool enough, thank you very much. So, look, it's not enough to turn me off the movies. I still love the movies and I still love the character. But yeah, whenever he utilizes the Iron Man Jr. capabilities, it makes me roll my eyes. It totally does. I cannot wait for Homecoming 2, I should say. Homecoming 2, and that won't be the name of it, but that's just what we're calling it for now. I cannot wait for Homecoming 2, or Far From Home, depending if you believe Tom Holland's little reveal on his iPad. But whatever it's called, I cannot wait for it because we talked on the John Campea show the other day about how one of the costume designers for Marvel was saying he's getting a new costume in that new movie that's going to be a reflection of him transitioning into manhood, like transitioning from just teenager into manhood. And I'm hoping part of that is coming into his own as Spider-Man and realizing, I don't need this Stark junk. I'm Spider-Man. I don't need this crap. So that's, my fingers are crossed for that at any rate. Okay, next one up comes to us from Jojo Ashton, who writes, "Hey John, I'm back in Canada. When are you coming?" Well, I don't know. I don't know when I'm moving back to Canada. I'm going to guess within 5 years I'll move back to Canada. Like Ann and I will probably move to Canada within 5 years. Depending on, you know, how her career path goes. I mean, I can do my job from anywhere. I don't need to be in LA. It's a bonus. It helps being in LA, but I don't need to be here. I can be anywhere and do this job. So I would like to move back probably the next 5 years. Ann and I are going to go back for a visit. I'm going back for a visit to visit my family here shortly. Ann and I, in the next couple of months, we're going to take a trip up to Calgary and Banff and Lake St. Louise to take a little bit of a vacation together, which we haven't done in ages. All that kind of stuff. But actually permanently moving back, I'm going to guess within the next 5 years. Then again, I probably would have said that 5 years ago too, but probably within the next 5 years I'll be moving back. John Jordan writes, "So sad they're holding back the Star Wars spin-offs only because I love Obi-Wan." Well, I mean, there's a couple things. This was a question that obviously came in earlier this week. Number one, they never announced an Obi-Wan movie. Let's keep that in mind. There's all these reports and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, we all know there's one coming, but officially speaking, they've never announced an Obi-Wan movie. They've never said an Obi-Wan movie is coming, so let's keep that in mind. The second thing is this. You're referring to this rumor that started going around that Lucasfilm was holding off on all the spin-off Star Wars movies, all the standalone Star Wars movies. Lucasfilm has come out and said that was not true. They said they're still moving ahead with developing all their other movies and all that other kind of stuff. Again, we don't know what any of these other movies are, but they said, nope, that report that came out was inaccurate. We are still moving ahead with all of our plans. So, number one, remember, they've never announced an Obi-Wan movie, but number two, don't get too worked up because Lucasfilm came out and said those reports were, to use their word, inaccurate. Next one comes to us from Eddie Burton, who writes, "Mickey Rourke, Hollywood's saddest story." I don't know. It's hard to call a sad story when a dude brings stuff on himself. And like, I mean, now granted, I don't know Mickey Rourke personally. I don't, but I've talked to a number of people in the industry that, and there's usually one common thread, that he's a nightmare to work with. I've heard that from producers that have worked with him. I've spoken to publicists that have worked on films that he's been a part of. And just everybody I've spoken to that has worked with Mickey Rourke say he's a nightmare to work with. That he's an incredible prima donna. Now again, I have never, worked with him. I don't know Mickey Rourke. For all I know, all those things that everybody else is telling me is complete BS. Totally fine. Fine. All I'm saying is everything I've heard has been, it's everything of his own making. He's a nightmare to be around. He's a nightmare to work with. And he's a massive prima donna. And it's difficult to call it a sad story when it's self-inflicted. I mean, look, Mickey Rourke, especially after The Wrestler, he was poised to be huge again, like to be absolutely huge in the business again. But, you know, the way he acted, you know, with the companies he worked with and the way he acted on set for a number of things, a couple of stories from Immortals comes to mind. I mean, you can probably look up some stories on Immortals. It's just, it's difficult to feel sad when it's all damage that was self-inflicted. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's difficult for me to feel sad at that point. R Squared Games writes, at this point, Fox is way overvalued. Oh, I agree with you completely. Wouldn't a better fit for Disney be Viacom? They'd get Cartoon Network, Transformers, TMNT, G.I. Joe, Shrek, etc. Well, remember, I mean, some of those things like Transformers, for example, they don't belong to Viacom. They belong to Hasbro. So just be careful about that. But a lot of people say, hey, don't you think Disney should buy this or buy that? Those things aren't for sale. Viacom isn't for sale. So it's completely pointless for us to talk about, I think Disney should buy these guys. Well, those guys aren't for sale. You know, Fox is for sale. Also, I mean, are they overvalued? Yes. But remember, there's a lot of properties in here. See, and again, a lot of people, when we talk about this whole Disney Fox, Comcast Fox thing, to us in our movie spheres, like we all focus on the X-Men and Deadpool and Fantastic Four. The reality is this, that's an afterthought to them. The X-Men is not the top priority in this whole deal. Like a lot of us think of this deal, oh, Marvel's or Disney's trying to get X-Men back. It has nothing to do with X-Men. It's a nice piece of the puzzle, but it's just a piece of the puzzle. And it's not the most important piece. It's not in the top 5. It's probably not even in the top 10 in importance. When you look at the grand scheme of things and all the different assets that Disney or Comcast is going to be acquiring from Fox, you realize for both of those companies, X-Men, Deadpool, they're good pieces, they're valuable pieces, but they're not the most important piece. They're actually almost afterthoughts in this deal for this larger thing. But again, when it comes to the Viacom thing, Viacom's not for sale. So it's kind of pointless to talk about things about whether somebody should buy something if something's not for sale. R Squared Games writes, FYI, Viacom's current market cap is just under $13 billion. That seems low. That seems low. Yeah, that does seem low. And again, going back to the whole thing again, you're focusing it as if the whole reason Disney wants to take over Fox is to get a couple of movie properties. That's not it. It's a much grander scale, much more holistic thing, which is why Comcast is in on it too. This is also why Comcast wants in on that. It's a much bigger picture than just this finite view that we have as movie fans, thinking it's all about these movie properties, and it's not. It's just one piece of the puzzle to a much bigger game going on. All right, final question today, and we'll wrap up today's what I was about to call it I'm not even going to repeat what I was about to call it. On today's companion video comes to us from Luis Manuel, who writes, what do you think of this Star Wars 8 remake controversy? Oh, there's no controversy. There's no controversy. Seems to be catching the attention of celebrities such as Seth Rogen, Michael Ian Black, and even Rian Johnson. Can this actually be possible? No, it's not possible. And it's only catching their attention in the sense that they're all making fun of it. It's ridiculous. It's not even worth talking about. I had somebody say to me the other day, but John, they've already raised like $140 million. No, they haven't. They haven't raised a single penny. So like the people, and first of all, you can tell these people, first of all, anybody who puts together a website like the one they have, I would not trust to make a motion picture. These people obviously have no artistic talent. Anyway, you go and look, it says, so far we have $140 million pledged. You see, with most things like that, like a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe or something like that, right? When you see a number that's been raised, that's actually people, when people commit, they actually give their credit card numbers, and GoFundMe or Kickstarter or whatever, they register the payment. And they put the payment, they put the money in trust, right? So the money's actually been paid. The money's actually been contributed. this whole thing on their website is you don't have to give them $1. You can just say, yes, I pledge $10,000. Even though they have no plan to even donate a single dollar. I pledge $10,000 because they're not actually taking any money from anybody. So don't be fooled when you go to that little website and it's just, so far we've raised, no. They've just got people to click on, yeah, sure, I'll commit $10,000. And so it's ridiculous nonsense. Nothing is going to come of this whatsoever. It's not, I feel dumber just even talking about it right now, to be honest with you. So no, nothing nothing like this will ever come of anything. It's just a bunch of people trying to get attention for themselves. Anyway, that will do it for today's installment of the companion video. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, guys, a little bit later this morning, well, if you're watching this early enough, to say at 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, we got the John Campea Show talking about all the big movie news and everything going on. Make sure you come back and join us for that. Of course, in the afternoons, we've got Open Mic, where we do nothing but take live open questions from the audience. And, of course, I do a little bit of play and chat in the later afternoons as well, playing some Warcraft while taking questions and topics from you guys. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until my next video, bye-bye.